This is reigning champ Tim Keck, and you're listening to the Kabauer Hour, only on Spotify.
All right, Steve Lacy, Dark Red. I love that song. I found out about Steve Lacy in probably the whitest way possible, which is to say, from the new Vampire Weekend album. But I think that's fine. You know, as long as Steve Lacy's in your life, you're doing okay. Let's talk about pessimism, eh? I want to know which my friends are optimistic and which of my friends are pessimistic. To do that, I used the most scientific tool that I have in my personal disposal, an Instagram poll. Now, I can't disclose exact numbers to you. That would be a HIPAA violation. But what I can say is that 70% of the people that responded told me that they were optimists. 30% of people told me that they were pessimists. That is interesting to me. That's lower than I expected it to be. I honestly thought it would be like a 50-50 split. A couple things could be going on here. I'm thinking, maybe people for some reason don't want to identify themselves as pessimists. Maybe there's some kind of a psychological association that makes people less likely to respond to an Instagram poll if they are pessimists. Maybe they're like, this Instagram poll is not going anywhere. Joke's on them. It made it into a podcast on Spotify. So now I've got 30% of my friends that responded telling me that they are pessimists. That's fine. It's on one side of a social media poll. But here's the question. Would they back it up if I called them on the phone?
I consider myself probably mostly a pessimist.
Ooh. I would say, I feel like that's kind of hard for me, but I would say I lean more towards a pessimist.
I consider myself a big pessimist.
Okay, wow. Yeah, they did. That's great. And look, I feel like there's some kind of a negative connotation associated with being a pessimist, but it's not inherently bad. In fact, I found a pretty interesting fact about pessimism. The American Psychological Association in 2013 published research that claims pessimists may actually live longer than optimists. The idea is that pessimism about the future could make people live more carefully and take more health and safety precautions than if they are more optimistic about the future. I could see it. Generally speaking, I think pessimism is f***ing fine, unless it actually interferes with your ability to live a normal day-to-day life.
I think that I was born a pessimist, and it's a habit that I never tried to break.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think there's times, too, where I'm so used to being kind of weirdly pessimistic in ways that I don't even realize I'm being pessimistic. I had a group of friends one time, and they were like, man, you're always so negative. And I was like, what you mean? And that actually really surprised me at the moment, because I was like, dang, you know what? I don't feel like I'm actually being negative. And I was thinking about, I was like, what? So I asked them, I was like, why? They're like, oh, you just critique everything.
Sometimes I'm content in my pessimism because I don't think it's active pessimism, but I guess, yeah, if I had a choice, I'd rather be an optimist.
I do wish I was more optimistic. I think that it would be nicer. I think I would be less miserable. And it just seems more pleasant overall. But I'm not sure if I have it in me. But that's my pessimism, being and even no matter how hard I try, it'll never happen.
And look, man, I feel it. Sometimes things suck, and then you find out that things suck a little bit more than you even expected them to. I hurt my back this past summer, finally got into physical therapy. Turns out I have a weak ass. That is actually what they told me. A physical therapist gave me an evaluation, said that my body had done a quote-unquote incredible job to avoid my literal ass doing any work itself. You go in for a hurt back, you find out you got a weak ass. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good at all. Oh boy, gonna take you into a music segment now. And let me just get this out of the way up top. If you see any connection between the songs that I'm about to play and the story I just told, that's in your head. You gotta be making it up, because I see no connection whatsoever.